Who is going to be RB1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2025? Let's talk about it. So right now, maybe not locally, but it seems from a national perspective, everybody is kind of focused on the passing game for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that's primarily because, of course, the Jaguars drafted Travis Hunter. We also have Brian Thomas Jr., which a lot of people are pretty excited about going into year two, especially from a fantasy football aspect. He's like a consensus first-round pick for a lot of people. And of course, Trevor Lawrence is always a hot topic, just being the number one overall pick in 2021, being this generational prospect. And a lot of people don't feel like he's lived up to the hype, especially going into year 5. And he also has a super mega contract. And also, the Jaguars trade away a first round pick for Travis Hunter next year. So everyone really feels like all the chips are all in on a Trevor Lawrence. And, while all this is, fine and well, I think we have to kind of take a focus on the Jaguars' run game, because the Jaguars' run game has not been good the last couple of years. In 2023, they were 24th in rushing yards per game, and in 2024, they were 26th in rushing yards per game. So bottom quarter percentile in each of the last 2 seasons, and it just hasn't really been good enough. Now, how can and how will the Jaguars get better? Of course, the Jaguars signed like 6 new offensive linemen in 2025 in free agency. And no, they signed 4 new offensive linemen in 2025 free agency, and they drafted 2 more offensive linemen. And I really think there's a likely chance that 80% of the Jaguars' offensive line in 2025 will not be the same one as in week 1 in 2024. We know the left tackle will be different. Cam Robinson is gone. Walker Little will have that role. Mitch Morse and Brandon Sheriff are no longer on the Jaguars, so you have Robert Hainsey and Patrick McCarry playing in both of the interior offensive lineman spots. So at least 60% of this offensive line will be different. We all know that Anton Harrison will more than likely and hopefully will be the day one starting right tackle, probably pending injury. So the only real competition I think there is right now is at left guard with Ezra Cleveland versus Wyatt Milam. I'll be honest with you, I have a hunch that Milam will be the day one starter. I think that Ezra Cleveland is replaceable. You also had Grant Udinski, who was with the Minnesota Vikings, replace him. I mean, they traded him away for a bag of peanuts to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we kind of know maybe indirectly how he may feel about him. And, a day 2 pick in Wyatt Milam, the 3rd pick that the Jaguars have had. And, with a new regime, they want to put their own stamp on the Jaguars roster. So I have a feeling that 80% of the Jaguars' starting offensive line in week 1 of 2025 will be different than week 1 of 2024. So that's one way to improve the run game. Also, new offensive philosophy. Now, the Buccaneers, of course, in 2023 were dead last in rushing yards per game. And in 2024, they improved to the 4th best in the NFL. So drastic improvement. A lot of it comes from both personnel upgrades as well as just a new philosophy. Liam Cohen, his offense, does a lot of really good stuff with, manufacturing the run game when it comes to misdirection and when it comes to just power run game. A lot of good stuff with Liam Cohen's offense, and that's going to be a big area for him, is improving the run game, while a lot of people will focus on how we need to improve the pass game. And also, the Jaguars have new running backs. I mean, Dearness Johnson is gone, so you're going to have ETN, Tank Bigsby, and Keelan Robinson return from last year. And then the Jaguars also drafted 2 running backs. They drafted 2 pretty different running backs. I mean, Bashal Tutin and LaQuint Allen. Bashal Tutin was a 4th-round pick, the first pick they had on day 3, and LaQuint Allen at the very end of the draft. Now, as we look at this, we wonder what roles will each player play. Now, last year when you look at ETN versus Tank Bigsby, both of their numbers, ETN finished the year with 588 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns while having 3.7 yards per carry, while Tank Bigsby, 766 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4.6 yards per carry. So by that number, Tank Bigsby out-yardaged him, out-touchdowned him, and most importantly, had almost an entire more yards per carry, and that's pretty significant. I mean, 4.6 yards per carry is actually pretty good. 3.7 yards per carry is pretty pedestrian. When I look at Tank Bigsby and ETN, I have been saying all along, I think Tank Bigsby is the much better running back. His only issue is that he fumbles a lot, but Tank Bigsby, when it comes to a pure runner standpoint in between the tackles, um, Tank Bigsby's just a lot better. And ETN, I feel, has been regressing a lot. I don't think that he sees holes a lot. I think that he's slowing down a little bit. And I don't know if that Liz Frank injury is catching up with him, but he's also on a contract year. He's on the last year of his contract, and I wouldn't. And if the Jaguars didn't pick up his fifth-year option, I really wonder if he would have been back with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But that was a Trent Baalke move. He's here to stay, so you got to decide who's going to be there. So I think that to start off week 1, 2025, Tank Bigsby will be the RB1. ETN will be the RB2 and more of like the third down back. Now, what do you do with Keelan Robinson? I have a feeling Keelan Robinson will be cut. The Jaguars keep 4 running backs. They drafted 2 running backs. Keelan Robinson is a previous regime guy. Keelan Robinson did nothing last year. He was dealing with some kind of injuries, but I just don't know what the Jaguars can do or what he can do to actually retain. So you move on. And when it comes to the Jaguars, they really didn't love any running back from the prior regime. I mean, the Jaguars were actually actively trying to get a running back. Now, according to Mike Silver, who was in the Jaguars war room, he wrote this big article on The Athletic, which I really recommend you guys go review because it's, pretty insightful, and it's something that we never really got. Like the guy in the war room basically saying everything that was happening, who the Jaguars were targeting. The Jaguars had 2 blue chip prospects. They had, of course, Travis Hunter, who they traded up to get, and they also had Ashton Genty. Those were the 2 blue chip guys. So you wonder if they couldn't get a trade with Cleveland. If Cleveland was 100%, we're getting Travis Hunter, you have to give us like 3 first-round picks, basically a FU type of deal, then the Jaguars probably would have ended up with Ashton Genty. And it was pretty interesting afterwards. The Jaguars were really, really wanting RJ Harvey to the point where most of day 2 of the draft, they had a shirtless picture of RJ Harvey up in the war room because he was the guy that they were going to target. Now, unfortunately, he was drafted at number 60 from the Denver Broncos. So, I mean, I wanted RJ Harvey as a homer pick because I loved him at UCF, but also he's just a really good player. And then the next guy that they wanted was Ashton Genty Ashton Gillette, who is an edge rusher from Louisville. He was snagged at pick number 66. So the Jaguars were sitting at pick number 70 with both of the guys they were targeting, both off of the board. So that's when they made the decision to move back to pick 102. So from there, the running back that they really wanted in RJ Harvey was off the board. So then they moved on day 3. The first pick they got Bashal Tutin. And Bashal Tutin is, to kind of explain him, he's kind of I think he'll kind of serve day 1 as a change of pace back. He kind of compares a lot to an Achane. He's like speedy. He is, of course, going to be a role player, and I think he's going to be the player that can really stretch the field for you, right? The Jaguars have a 1st and 10. You have him in there, then you want to run something to the edge of the field. And, of course, the Jaguars going to be running all over the place, up the middle, side to side. I think the screen game is going to be really prominent with Travis Hunter, and then they're going to be attack down the field, especially with Brian Thomas Jr. It's going to be an all-angles type of offense, which we didn't really see the last couple of years with a Doug Peterson. So I think day 1, Tootin will be the change of pace guy, and we'll see if he continues to get a lot of yards per carry, if he demands more carries, and if he can kind of usurp really the top running back role. And I think he'll get all the opportunity, especially since he's the first running back that this regime has really invested in. And his big issue is just the fumbling issue. He did have a fumbling issue coming over from where he was drafted from. I believe he's not from Syracuse, Virginia Tech. So going to have to clean that up. And then next, LaQuint Allen. He's going to be really potentially being the third down back, right? He has excellent grades in pass protection when it comes to protecting the quarterback in the pass game, but also he led the FBS in receptions with I don't have the exact amount of receptions written down, but lots of receptions, lots of receiving yards. So he is going to be that real change of that third down back. So, in the case that next year, or if these guys get hurt. Like, I really wonder. I think this depth chart is going to be all up in the air, right? I could see ETN potentially being demoted down to RB4. I could see Tank being RB2. I could see Tootin being RB1. Like, I really think this is a whole hodgepodge type of group. But one thing I do think that with everything said, I think that Bashal Tootin will be like the kick return guy, because now with the NFL changing the kickoff rule, last year we saw the whole dynamic kickoff thing. Didn't really make much of a difference. Everyone was still kicking touchbacks, but in 2024 they moved that up to the 35. So I think that there's going to be a lot of returns this year. I think Bashal Tootin will be a guy, potentially Tank Bigsby. My only concern is that Bashal Tootin has a fumbling problem. Tank Bigsby has had a fumbling problem. Has had a fumbling problem the last couple of years. So I really hope not many turnovers come from that, and I hope that that issue can be corrected. But yeah, it's really confusing with the Jaguars running back room. But one thing we know, the running game has to get better, and I think it will get better. I think that the pass game or the run game will really be set up through the pass game. I think Travis Hunter will be a big screen guy, which will be kind of an extension of the run game. We even saw Brian Thomas Jr. pretty good on screens last year. I'm really toward the back half of the season. But yeah, the running back situation, very confusing. It would have been a lot easier if RJ Harvey fell to the Jaguars at pick number 70. Then I think he's your plug and play RB1, first and second down running back. Then you're fighting for who's going to be RB2. Now it's a little bit different, but the Jaguars, of course, didn't invest too much in the running back position, didn't pay anybody in the offseason, but did draft 2 guys on day 3. So we'll see what kind of cream rises to the top. And it feels like maybe running back will be more of a 2026 priority if Bashal Tootin or if LaQuint Allen don't really explode on the scene this year. Hopefully they do, and we don't have to invest much in that. Of course, running back seems like it's more of a day 2 is a high investment, but this is what we got right now. So with that said, let me know who you guys think is going to be the top running back for the Jaguars. I think Tank Bigsby will start off as RB1, get the first and second down carries, and I think that really once we look at November, December, that might change a lot. But we'll see. Definitely fascinating stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Go Jags.